Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. So today I am here with some bookish recommendations for non-fiction November. A couple of these books I haven't yet read. One of them I have read a couple of the pieces that are in the book, and another one I have seen the documentary that accompanies the book. So I feel that I can recommend these books even though I haven't read the ones that I've just mentioned. So the first one is one that I have started and read a couple of the stories from, and I'm really excited to continue on with it. It is the Book of Gutsy Women, Favourite Stories of Courage and Resilience. So this tells the stories of different women throughout history, and yeah, what more do you need to know? It's feminist, it's about real people, and it's by Hillary Rodham Clinton and her daughter Chelsea Clinton. Of course, they need no introduction as to who they are. I originally saw Hillary and Chelsea speak about this on the Graham Norton show and then completely forgot about it. I think I stuck it on my wish list somewhere, and it wasn't until like a few months ago that I saw this in Tesco's. I'm not even sure if I have hauled this book yet. I may have done, or it may have languished again on a shelf somewhere under a pile of other books. But I have read a couple of the entries in this. Throughout history and around the globe, women have overcome the toughest resistance imaginable to win victories that have made progress possible for all of us. Civil rights activist Dorothy Height, LGBTQ trailblazer Edie Windsor, and swimmer Diana Nyad keep pushing forward no matter what. Writers like Rachel Carson and Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie named something no one had dared talk about before. Historian Mary Beard used wit to open doors that were once closed, and Wangari Maathai, who sparked a movement to plant trees, understood the power of role modelling. Harriet Tubman and Malala Yousafzai all looked fear in the face and persevered. Nearly every single one of these women was fiercely optimistic. They had faith that their actions could make a difference, and they were right. To us, they are all gutsy women, leaders with the courage to stand up to the status quo, ask hard questions, and get the job done. I look forward to continuing on with this book. Like I say, I've read a couple of the entries that are in here, and yeah, it's fabulous. So not only is it a recommendation for non-fiction November, it's also a piece of feminist literature, and I'm there for that. So the next one that I chose is, I wasn't sure whether this fell completely under the heading of non-fiction, but apparently it does. It falls under three genres. It is an essay, it is fiction, and non-fiction. It's A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. I have read this only the once. I feel that it's a book that I should reread again and reacquaint myself with. This is the Persephone edition, and I am in love with this. The inside looks like that, and it's just stunning. I think I hauled this in a video just recently during the dreaded lockdown period that we had here, which we are maybe possibly going back to in Scotland. So this is based on two essays or two talks that were given by Virginia Woolf during 1928, and they talk of the importance of a safe space and a space for women to write and to be creative in a male-dominated world. It's less an issue nowadays with male domination, I feel, but it's still something that is, it's less of an issue, but it's still an issue, if that makes sense. This is amazing. I adored this. I didn't read this edition, but I think I need to. I mean, it's Persephone, it's beautiful. But yeah, Virginia Woolf's writing for me can be sometimes a bit difficult. I've only read 2 of her books, this one and Mrs. Dalloway. Mrs. Dalloway, I felt it kind of confused me, and it's more like a stream of consciousness writing, and I think that Virginia Woolf is famed for that. But this is glorious. A very feminist piece of non-fiction. And again, I'm there for it. So the next book is one that I read just recently, and I really enjoyed this. I can't say that I can completely empathise with this person's take on growing up as a gay man, because we're from completely different backgrounds. And I think I spoke about this when I wrapped this book up recently in one of my recent wrap-ups. Yeah, this person came from a very wealthy background, and I didn't. So there was kind of that conflict that I had with the book, that we were coming from 2 different places, but there was elements of our growing up as gay that completely rang true for me. It is To Be a Gay Man by Will Young. I really enjoyed this. This was amazing, and I do recommend it. It's very confronting. It's very in your face. It's quite difficult to read in some places, but as a piece of non-fiction memoir, it is incredible. And Will Young's writing, it just flows, and it's just so easy to read. And yeah, it's very accessible, if that makes sense. And I recommend this. Now the next one is a piece of true crime, and yeah, this one I read a good few years ago, and up to date, this is the only in fact, this is the only non-fiction book that this author wrote, I'm fairly certain, and it's only the 2nd book that I think I have read from this person, from this writer, who is sadly no longer with us. It is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This tells the story of 2 killers who murder a family on a farm in Kansas. I think it's Kansas. I want to say it's Kansas. Yes, in a place called Holcomb, Kansas. In 1959, a family, the Clutter family, are shot to death in their home, and this tells the story of the killers and the eventual execution of those killers. And Truman Capote wrote this book over the course of their incarceration in prison, from the time that they are caught and found guilty of these crimes and imprisoned, and then eventually executed. And he didn't finish the book until they were executed. He wanted to have that story rounded out, and yeah, it's very dark. It's very uncomfortable to read in places, but it's a brilliant read and a great piece of non-fiction for true crime lovers all over the world, everywhere. Now the next one is another autobiography or memoir. I read this at the beginning of the year. Yes, February, March time, when my husband and I were on holiday up in Balmoral. And we buddy read this. We've done a whole review video on it. I'll try and link that down below. And we both absolutely adored this. This was amazing. It's Me by Elton John. Obviously, this is by one of the best known performers on the planet. And it tells of his early life, his rise to stardom, his drug use, and his marriage to what's his husband's name, David Furnish, and the birth of their sons. It's very honest. It's very witty. It's very funny. It's very cutting in places as well. It's beautifully well written, and it's a recommendation that I will force on anyone. In fact, I don't need to force it. Just read it. It's awesome. If you haven't already, it's amazing. I recently bought the paperback edition because it was published with an extra chapter. I haven't got to it yet, but I hope to soon. But not only is it a great book, it's also a beautiful book to look at, and I just love how the me is kind of holographic. I just love that kind of thing. The next one is another one that I read quite recently. This was read as part of Sykes and Savage Book Club, and I can't remember which month this was chosen. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. I can't remember. If I find out before I post the video when I'm editing it, I'll pop it somewhere on the screen. It is Unicorn, the memoir of a Muslim drag queen by Amrou Al-Kadhi. This tells the story of Amrou, who is a drag queen. They tell the story of their life growing up as Muslim and as queer, and their eventual blossoming into the performer and the person that they are now. And it's just incredible. Darkly funny, hilariously funny in some places, quite sad as well. Another one that's quite confronting and very sort of, it asks difficult questions and makes you see the dark side of many things, but just absolutely gorgeous. And another beautifully designed book with kind of holograph sparkly bits. I'm just a magpie for sparkle and for books and for just nice things. So the final book in my bookish recommendations for non-fiction November is a book that I have not read yet at all. I have seen the documentary that this accompanies, and it was a very difficult watch. It was very, it gave me all the feels, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the book, because I feel that books kind of have more information than TV shows and movies and stuff that they're about, or that are about them. It is A Life on Our Planet, My Witness Statement and a Vision for the Future by David Attenborough. Like I say, my husband and I watched the Netflix documentary. If you haven't yet, oh my goodness, get it watched. It will make you feel all the feels. It's so worth the watch. It's so important that you do watch it, because it has a message that we need to hear, because we as a species are destroying our planet and it needs to stop. And who better to tell us than David Attenborough? And I love the design of this book as well. Underneath the dust jacket, it has these gorgeous sort of green tones, and also it picked out in silver is David Attenborough's signature. So yes, those rather, are my recommendations for non-fiction November. If there's any books there that you have read, please do tell me down below what you thought of them. If there's any books that you think you might really enjoy, tell me, and we can discuss those as well. Thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.